Okay, so this video is talking about how the first century church was actually probably considered to be very politically incorrect. And not because it was saying things that were hateful, not because it was saying things that were crude, but it was the way they were acting. It did not fit in with the society around them. This is a great website called Rev Reads, I believe by Sean Wilson. And he's talking about a book called Destroyer of the Gods by Larry Hurtado. So check out, I'll leave a link below for you to check out the entire review of this book. But let's take a listen to what Sean is saying about how the first century church, how it was so different from the culture around it. And in reality, the culture around, especially the Roman culture around them, they were shocked and they were offended by the way that these people lived, because they were living such moral lives that put everybody on the same level. Slaves sat at a dinner table with their masters. The rich sat at the dinner table with the poor whenever they came to worship and sing songs to God, this king who had died and raised from the dead. Let's check this video out.
That was such an integral part of Roman life. Hurtado shows in Destroyers of the Gods why people were willing to give their life for this faith in Jesus that was so different from the Roman culture around them, and what was it that made Christianity so different. And this book is, frankly, it's just eye-opening, as Hurtado really dives into what made Christianity stand out in the first generations. And this is so important because our society, even though it is being called post-Christian today, has been so Christianized that we don't even recognize how transformative Christianity was on the world around us. But the distinction between Christianity and the other religions was that at that time, paganism, by and large, didn't care how you lived. For them, it was all about the holidays and the rituals to basically enable the worshiper to have more luck in daily life. Today, when people claim that all religions are basically the same, and that all religions teach that we should be kind to our neighbors and love one another and to be honest and truthful, the reality is, none of the religions taught that before Christianity. It was the church who invented the first term for sexual abuse of a child, because it wasn't seen as wrong to have sex with kids in the Roman world. The church was the first to deliver moral standards directly to women, children, and slaves. Other non-religious moral codes were simply directed with all of their commands given to men. It was the role of men to keep their families in line and have them live proper lives, while men at the same time could engage in whatever depravity suited them. But the church brought dignity to children, women, and slaves by speaking directly to children, that children should obey their parents, directly to wives, that wives should submit to their husbands, directly to slaves, that slaves should obey their masters. This was the first moral teaching that gave women, children, and slaves the value of being spoken to as people made in the image of God. And it's kind of ironic that we belittle these laws. We talk about how they demean women and children, and the only reason we can have that view and perspective today is because of the influence that Christianity had on the morality of the world at large. And we don't see how groundbreaking passages such as Ephesians 5 and 6 were on the Western world. I don't think someone can really and fully appreciate just how earth-shattering Christianity was without reading Destroyer of the Gods by Larry Hurtado. Because we live in a world that has been so Christianized, even if our culture is trying to run away from Christianity as fast as it can, we live in a world that's been so Christianized that we can't fully comprehend just how much faith in Jesus Christ changed the world, or why it was that those first generations of Christians were willing to suffer and die as believers in Jesus Christ. So I highly encourage that you read Destroyer of the Gods by Larry Hurtado, so that you can see just how remarkable and just how world-shaking Christianity truly is.